Welcome back to another exciting Lord Duckman production. We're back today with Small Engine Saturday. Nope! As of late, I would ordinarily work on a go-kart or motorcycle for a Saturday video, but that just didn't work out this week due to parts ordering logistics. So we're just going to work on the 1967 Volkswagen bus frame that I've got here. Nope! Not that either, because everything that I touched this week left me to rummage deep for parts, or it got wet. I guess that's just the way life goes. But in the last video, we visited the circus and we watched Rob's Jeep CJ7 engine extraction. And while everyone that watched the video laughed and really enjoyed it and left great comments, it was quite to my surprise that it had so little traffic. So I guess we'll see if the traffic picks up a little bit on the Jeep stuff that I have left here. If you guys aren't interested, maybe I'll just go back to my regular Volkswagen and small engine stuff and maybe revisit the Jeep thing at a later date. Or just create yet another YouTube channel and seek a new following. Well, this week I have been tasked with fixing this transmission mount and frame cross member. The previous owner had trouble fitting the engine and transmission combination and decided to just butcher this component to make it clear the bottom of the transmission. Well, I think I can do better than that. So, today we're going to get this mess straightened out, but not until we take a moment to have a walk around and show you some of the active projects that I'm working on this week. Hey, you guys remember my go-kart project here? I got a little ahead of myself and started doing some welding on this thing. It's amazing how quickly I can get done when I don't have to run a camera. So what I wanted to do is I just wanted to go ahead and modify the front end suspension. So I put these moped shocks that you see here on the front, and we'll get to this a little more in the individual video, but I removed these little bitty shocks that used to be on here because they just didn't have enough travel. Now the moped shocks I think are stiff enough, but I need to put some kind of a preload on it because once they start to get stiff, the suspension has already moved quite a bit. So yeah, I definitely need to get these suckers preloaded. Maybe cut the tabs off the top, move them to a different position. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. Maybe make an adjustable mount, a little engineering. You haven't seen a Duckman do that kind of stuff in a little while. Maybe that's what we'll get into. But we'll see shortly on that. In the rear, however, we have a KZ440 shock from Dad's chopper. When we hardtailed that thing, I took these off. Currently, it's at the maximum tension that's on here, so I can loosen that up quite a bit. I haven't done the other side just yet because it got dark the other day, but it's so much stiffer than it was, and I'm much happier with that. So this is probably sprung correctly for an adult's weight. And like I said, I wanted a stiffer back and a softer front so that way I can drift this thing, because you want the fronts to dig and you want the rears to slide, and that's how you would set up a car to do it. Anyway, let me show you what's going on up front. And this probably isn't very important to you, but I got a gate that Rob had done a little demo removing some fences from a house, and they had really nice gates, and this was one of them. But the problem was, it was about a foot too short, well, a little more than a foot, I think it was 17 inches. So I had two gates actually, so I welded the two of them together to give me that extra 17 inches. You can see the welds right here, they're starting to rust up, but I need to get a little coat of paint on that and get them fixed. But anyway, this gate closes nicely now. It's so much better than that rotten old piece of crap that was over here before. There we go. Look at that. It's no longer a hideous mess. I'm much happier with that. I just need to work on a lock on the inside of it, and I'll have that figured out probably today. None of this video, but I'll probably have that figured out today. Alright, well, here we go. Up front we have my 1967 Volkswagen bus frame that you guys have seen me working on modifying, and up on top of it is a Beetle pan. Now I did some notching and cutting to get the front end to fit together. It still needs to be trimmed in a couple little places, but I need to take a break from the front and start figuring out the back, because in order for the front to go in, I have to situate the back where it needs to be. But this transmission has to come out. But if I take transmission out, the entire rear suspension collapses. So what I've got on the order is a whole bunch of trailing arm and IRS components to get this thing converted. And until then, well, I really can't do a whole lot with this thing because everything is holding me up on that. The shipment said it was supposed to be in today before 10 a.m. Then they changed it to it'll be in before 1 o'clock, and then they changed it to 8 p.m. And whenever I've seen that happen, my orders don't show up. So leave it to the shippers to always screw me up somehow, and of course they don't know my schedule for videoing, and they don't care. So we're just going to move on from this today because unfortunately I can't do anything else with this until I get the rest of my parts. You'll see some more updates on this probably next week when we get things in for it. Meanwhile, I got stuff I got to work on for Rob's CJ7. You remember that transmission mount that we talked about in the previous video? Well, we're going to cut and modify that and fix that today and get that thing taken care of so we can give it back so that way he can get his engine and transmission mounted into his Jeep. There we go. Thanks for watching, guys. Licky, likey, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to plug the link to get updates every time I have a video. Check out duckshit.net for all my different social media links. And we'll see you right after that intro. Boop. Alright, welcome back everybody to another exciting Lord Duckman production. Right here, we're working on a Jeep belly pan, or some kind of transmission belly pan or something. This is actually from Rob CJ7. Yes, I've recorded a whole bunch of videos since 2020 on Rob CJ7, but he never had enough to put together a whole video. But he started working on this thing as of recently. He's got a mechanic friend of his that are dealing with it. But they got to this point on this thing where this belly pan looks like the previous owner just butchered it, among other things on his chassis. This thing was just a nightmarish mess. But Rob wanted the project, so Rob took it on. Who am I to say that it's too far gone, right? There's a little difference between Russ, though, and previous owner stuff. Yeah, quite a big difference. Anyways, let me show you up close on this belly pan and what we got going on here and what I have to do. Alright, apparently to clearance the transmission that was installed in here, the previous owner took a torch and cut out this entire area on this pan. And you notice it has a kind of a belly in it here, and it wasn't bellied enough. This portion here needs to go straight across. So whatever that height is, it needs to be built up. We have a tongue from an old hand truck for moving around boxes and stuff, which appears to be the right kind of metal, the right thickness to get this thing repaired. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a line, you can even see the line I've already scribed, to straighten this thing out. I'll do the same thing on the other side, and I'll cut off this bit in here. Then I'll get this thing formed and welded in. I mean, pretty straightforward, standard stuff, nothing too fancy, nothing too special, just need to make this thing work. And that's my task for today, so let's hop to it. I was beginning to wonder if that cutting wheel was going to make it through the job, and it did. There wasn't much of it left to begin with anyway. Ow, that was hot. But what'd you expect, Duckman? Alright, now we have kind of square. It bows over a little bit that way, but I can straighten that out if need be. Now I see where we need to go. Alright. Yeah. Start putting some marks on this and start making some bends. This stuff is a little thick, so it can be a little tricky to bend, but one of the tricks is you take your cutting wheel and you make your line and you cut along your line and halfway through maybe, and then it's real easy to bend. And then you just simply weld along that line. And that's probably what I'm going to do here. Yeah, I still need to cut a little more of that off, but that's not a big deal. Might even come up from the inside this way. Yeah, probably just weld it in like that. And then when it's in there, cut off the excess on the inside. Yeah, that might just be easiest. Alright, we got a score started along here. I've already started to bend it. That damn car alarm's been going off for the last 10 minutes, on and off, on and off, on and off. Sorry guys, you're gonna have to deal with it same as I do. But anyways, just it'll bend in a straight line because, well, we made a straight line. There we go. Alright, let's see how that works out now if I have to bend it some more. Yeah, it's got to go a little bit more. Time I might have gone That's a little too much, maybe. Maybe. No, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. Alright, make a mark on here. Hey, you know what? Before we do any of that, let's get some of this paint off of here. This is actually going to come up a little bit short when we get this thing in here. Just a little bit short, I can already see. Well, if I need to, I'll add a strip to it, but yeah, it's definitely going to fall a little short. Alright, this piece is pretty close to where it needs to be. It does fall a little short on this side, about 3/4 of an inch here and a little over an inch here. So I will have to scab in a little piece and make that work. But this isn't too bad otherwise. This is where it needs to be. Alright, so I'm going to clean off paint on this side, and then we'll get ready to start tacking this thing into place and see how it turns out. Yeah, not too bad. That's good for a tacking start. Okay, let me show you guys what's going on here. Alright, on this side you can see where I'm going to have to scab in a little piece to fill in that area. Not too big of a deal. This side's not too bad at all. It's pretty close. What I'll do then is I'll just tap this with a hammer and push that into place. Over here I can easily fill that up with weld. This one I'll get on the inside here and I'll knock this green corner out to fill that up and then weld that in. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, but what's most important is that that is planed off. That was how I was asked to make this thing, so that way it's the same height all the way across. And that should do it. I think so. Alright, well, keep on welding, keep on smashing with the hammer, and just get things to line up. That's really about it until I get over here and fill this in with a patch. And I've got plenty. In fact, you know what? That's the piece that's going to go in there. I just grabbed that out of nowhere. Pulled that right out of my ass, almost literally. Anyway, that's what's going to go in there to fill that up. Well, fantastic. Good. Alright. Anyway, I might only have a few feet of welding wire left, but my last welding tip, the wire, welded itself on the inside of it. The full length of it. I can't get that out. I'm not even going to try to re-drill that. Forget it. So I gotta get some more of these anyway. I'm running out of daylight. I probably got about 30 minutes of daylight left, so I'm just wasting my time trying to even dick with this. So I'm just going to put everything away, and we're going to try to finish this thing up in the morning. Now, it's supposed to rain in the morning, but that just means I'm going to have to work under my front porch in between rain showers and get this thing finished up, because Rob said he needed it. He wants it for tomorrow. But you know what? If it's raining tomorrow, I guess he really doesn't need it that bad, because he's not going to work on it. He doesn't have a garage either. Alright, well, let's go ahead and just push everything aside, because I guess we're done for today. Well, I'll be damned. It actually showed. In pilfer-proof tape. Well, there's the first part for
the following day.
Okay, we're back. It's the next day, and it was pouring rain this morning, but for some reason the sun is shining now. But they say in the next hour and a half it's supposed to completely go to pot, but let's see how much of this we can get done. Yes, the Duckman is now making knives, just like a lot of other YouTubers. I started with my first butter knife. Look at that! Ah! Anyway, I gotta, make a nice handle for it, and then I can start scooping cream cheese and shit on my bagel. Anyway, this actually fits right in here. Here we go. Anyway, weld around the seams, that covers that. Once that's squared up, then I can finish the welds around the rest of this thing, and then I'll run a Sawzall right along here and cut that thing off. Well, that's where we're at. Let's keep on welding this sucker. Hey, it's staying in there all by itself. That's odd, before it was falling out. Ew, dirty. Alright. And that wire feeds a whole lot nicer with a new tip. Woohoo! That other one welded itself for the full length of it. Yeah, you don't need the shield with the flux core, Duckman. Yeah, I know, but it helps to keep the spatter down from bouncing back and hitting me, so I guess whatever it's worth. It keeps it contained. However, the spatter does like to build up inside the tip sometimes. This probably should be a little more recessed than that. These tips are a little longer than the other ones that I used to use. Here we go, get it centered. Alright. Ready to start welding. Here goes. Alright, not too bad for the first go around. Usually what I do is I then go over the welds one more time. The first go around, very often it'll give me a lot of burn through, and well, actually this time it didn't. A lot to be said for having a new tip on there, I guess, huh? It's actually burning it in like it's supposed to. It actually came out pretty good. Missed a spot there. And let's finish up this one over here too. Alright, well, that welder worked a ton better than it did before, with just a new tip on it. We got both sides of this welded. You guys didn't get to see it, but I actually went on the inside and went over everything just to make sure I got adequate penetration from both sides. This is a structural component, and that's why it was so important to Rob to get this thing whole again. Anyway, I also welded through the channels. That's where I cut the grooves in it, so it made it real easy to bend this thing. And I'll get in here with a grinder, and I'll just run over it real quickly one time, and I'll Sawzall off this extra piece here. Otherwise, we look to be done, unless I manage to grind through some spot and make a hole somewhere, or find a void inside one of my welds, which wouldn't be surprised. This is flux core after all, and I'm not the biggest weld professional. Maybe someday I'll study the act of stacking dimes, but until then, we're just gonna make things work, because that's what I'm good at, making things work. Right, guys? like to hide the welds. Sometimes hiding the welds is more impressive than a nice stack of dimes, if you know what I mean. Alright. Suppose I can grind them down a little more to get some of the dark spots out, but they're not pitted, it's just the welds could be ground down a lot more, but I don't want to take them down too much. This is stuff nobody's ever going to see anyway. Alright, I guess all that's left is we gotta saw off all the excess down here. Yep. Yeah, let me let this cool down. I'm gonna put a piece of tape on it, and then we're gonna run the Sawzall across it. And this poor thing, oh my god. Ugh, covered in dust. In my opinion, pulling a piece of tape for a straight line is better than drawing one. Because it kind of self-straight edges. Hey, look at that. Not bad for a white kid, huh? Alright. We'll cut along the inside of this line right on the tape. I think this stuff is some form of hardened steel, because it sure is tough on my tools. Need a better way to clamp this down. Alright, we're clamped down again. Let's see what happens here. Now the whole table jumps instead. Battery time. This one has been going for quite a while too. One out of the fan here. It's about a 3/4 charge. Should be just fine. You probably notice I also have a technique where I use the full length of the saw blade by tipping it back and forth, because you don't want it to blue like that. Because if it starts getting that hot, especially along the teeth, it's going to start losing teeth, and you can already see there's a few missing. But this thing should be enough teeth to get the job done. If it's not, well, I'll grab a new blade, but... Hey, look at that. Alright, very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Just clean up the burrs. See how straight my cut is. Perfect! Not that it really mattered, but... Alright. That's ready to go back to Rob. Be nice if I throw a little coat of acid on it for him, but I don't know if he's going to paint it or what he's going to do. He'll probably paint it, but I'm going to leave that up to him. Alright, well I guess that's it for today, so thanks for watching everybody. We'll try to head over to Rob's and get a little video of him putting that engine back in, and I'd like to be there for the first start. I think you guys need to see that too. So anyways, likey, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to plug the dingle bells to get updates every time I up a video. Check out duckshit.net for all my different social media links. That's right, I've got other YouTube channels. And we'll see you guys next time. Really appreciate it.